All right, everybody, welcome back to the Pleb Underground. Signal without the slop. You guys can see there's a little bit of a change here. I'm trying out some overlays and stuff, trying to make it a little bit more fun for myself as well as you guys. So let's dive into it because we've got a lot of topics to cover. Even though we did do the news at TabConf, obviously the news just never stops, and there's always so much to go over. So let's dive into it. The first thing we're going to take a look at, the Hopium, guys. We got a whole lot of Hopium. We've got some positive comments coming out of the vice. What is it? It's the vice chairman of Bitfury, right? We're going to see what he had to say. Major brokerage, right? That manages trillions of dollars. That's right. They love Bitcoin. They love crypto. We're going to take a look at that. Steak and Shake's new burger. Not going to lie, I kind of like the Bitcoin branding. We'll take a quick look at that. We've got a chart. That if this doesn't make you bullish, it should. It absolutely. I mean, it's making me bullish. So, anyways, we're gonna take a look at that. And hold on a second. Okay. Some news out of Japan, right? Which is kind of interesting. So, so we've got Japan warming up to Bitcoin and crypto, but at the same time, it looks like there was an election last night, and it looks like the person, the person that came into power is actually very Bitcoin and crypto friendly. So it's kind of, I guess, the stars are aligning out there, right? But make no mistake, it's got nothing to really do with Bitcoin. It's all just stable coins, guys. It's all just stable coins. Anyways, speaking of stable coins, more stablecoin integration. Also, we're going to take a look at an SBR update. Of course, last week you probably saw that the state of Florida is looking at having a strategic Bitcoin reserve. We're going to dive into that and actually talk about the truth of it. Might have also seen that some people were hyping up that Signal is planning to adopt Bitcoin, or people are pressuring Signal to adopt Bitcoin. We've got Jack Dorsey saying Signal should use Bitcoin. Yeah, we're going to take a look at that. Coinbase with another yield product, right? We'll take a look at that as well. And for cool stuff, Bull Bitcoin, right? Bull Bitcoin just made a new wallet, and which it's not just for use in Canada, guys. It's not just for use in Canada. You could use it anywhere worldwide. Of course, you may not be able to buy Bitcoin worldwide with it, but that's okay. That's, baby steps as well. It looks like Jade, the Jade software, right, which is a Blockstream product. It looks like there's some integration going on there. We're going to take a look at that, guys. Big news day today. Let's dive into it. You know the deal, though. Before we do, I'm going to show some love to the Pleb Underground sponsor, and we are going to be right back. Here we go. Pleb Underground is sponsored by Archimedes Emporium. Discover the pinnacle of precision engineering, starting with their Bitcoin logo wall clock, meticulously machined in Maine from a solid block of aerospace-grade aluminum, ensuring unparalleled durability and performance. Experience the difference of a product made without compromise. Head on over to Archimedes Emporium. All right, so let's go. That is not, I don't know why StreamYard does that. It's so weird. Anyways, probably a bug, or user error. Anyways, let's dive into it. Here's the chart, guys. This is the chart from Bitcoin Magazine. It's a pretty good one. So look, yeah, when you kind of space it out and zoom out, you can clearly see, right? This is the path of it's so over as we essentially just keep doing price discovery. So guys, right up here, this is the dip that we're currently experiencing. Yeah, I'm not really so concerned. In all fairness, not really concerned about this. But let's take a look at some more Hopium, right? Because we've got a whole bunch of Hopium that's just going to make everybody so excited. Let's take a look at this video from the CEO of Bitfury.
Distance of Bitcoin's recent all-time high reached back in August above $124,000. Yes. Do you think we can surpass that all-time high? And if so, can we stay there? What will it take?
For me, it's a directional bet. So we're going to 1 million, and after that, we're going to 10 million. So it's just a matter of time. From that standpoint, I'm taking a long-term view. And everyone, I've been advising people to get into Bitcoin at $20, $200, $20,000 and $120,000, because at the end of the day, it is a scarce value. It's a digital gold and has all the properties to be anti-inflationary and anti sort of a centralized government spending. So it's a directional bet.
And
okay. Directional bets. I appreciate the kind words, right, about Bitcoin. First, we go to 1 million, then we go to 10 million. Of course, right? He is the vice chairman of Bitfury. Bitfury does they have blockchain solutions, Web3. Not too much talk about Bitcoin, but on the news, right? He's talking about Bitcoin. So that's good times. That is definitely good times. Okay, anyways, that made me happy, right? We're right around the corner, $10 million. It's so happening. Yeah, moving on. Let's keep going here. Here we go, guys. The $11 trillion brokerage to debut crypto trading. Now, as if you didn't already know, Charles Schwab to begin spot crypto trading in the first half of 2026. That's right, guys. And really, it's just a bet on it. Unfortunately, right? It's just a bet on Gen Zs, which I think, you know what? I used to complain about when I first got out into the workforce being a Gen X. And I got to tell you, I actually feel much worse for the Gen Zs because their purchasing power has been destroyed even further. No, ACP, I'm trying out new stuff, man. I used the camera from the trade show, and I'm trying there actually is a background. It's kind of this black gradient with a glow. So it is a background. It's just not much of a background. We'll see. I might change it up. I don't know. I just try stuff, right? That's pretty much what I do. I just try stuff, see how it works. Anyways, so yeah, it's no surprise, right? These guys want to cater to Gen Z. They know that Gen Z, is obviously desperate in order to make money, and more specifically to essentially just try to catch up and keep up with inflation. So hey, come to the casino, right? They're totally going to encourage this, because at the end of the day, right, these brokerages, they don't care how you do. Their whole business is fees and volume, which, I mean, that's really no surprise, right? Moving on. Let's go into the Japan Hopium, guys. Let's dive into that. Let's take a look at the Japan Hopium. Here we go. Okay. So Japan's FSA weighs allowing banks to hold Bitcoin and other crypto. Keep in mind, this was just a couple of days before they announced the essentially the new candidate that won, that is Bitcoin and crypto friendly, right? So if you think that isn't going to happen, right? Of course they're going to allow banks to hold Bitcoin, but we got to dive into this to get the sauce, right? So 3 of Japan's largest banks, including Mitsubishi UFJ Financial Group, Sumitomo Mitsui Banking Corporation, and Mizuho Bank, have joined forces to issue a yen-pegged stablecoin. So of course, guys, this is going to go through. This is no surprise. It ain't got nothing to do with Bitcoin. It is just all about the stablecoins. I know. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I try to make it a little, more Hopium-like, but I just, if you think for a second, if any of us are delusional enough to think that the government cares, any government cares about Bitcoin, and that and that they aren't just simply trying to shoehorn their stable coin and make that work as long as possible, I'm sorry, like you're wrong. Governments don't care about Bitcoin. They just care about their stupid stable coins. Anyways, let's continue on, because of course, right, we've got some more stuff. Let's see here. Oh, all right. You know what? The Steak and Shake. So I got to tell you, right, and I'm going to agree with Predator on this one. I think Steak and Shake is the real MVP this cycle. Steak and Shake, 100% agreed, is the real MVP. Using it as a medium of exchange, right? Actually set up the infrastructure for people to pay for their food with Bitcoin, and Not only that, but even making changes to their fries, which I get it, guys. The fries are pre-fried in seed oils, which they did address and actually they actually did acknowledge it and take responsibility for that, right? That's, believe it or not, all of a sudden taking responsibility is a superpower in this day and age because nobody does it. So you know what? I'm going to give them some props. Why not? I think they're doing better than a lot of these shitbag treasury companies that are just pretending to, pretending to have a business, but they hold Bitcoin. Yeah, I can also pretend to have a business and hold Bitcoin. Let me tell you, I'm not going to be able to hold Bitcoin for very long. Okay, that's the honest to God truth. That burger looks pretty good. I don't know what your guys' thoughts are on the Steak and Shake burger. I have had mixed experiences. I've had good experience with Steak and Shake. I've also had bad experience with Steak and Shake. Anyways, hopefully all of this attention gets them to, make it so that their the experience is more streamlined. But I know that that's very difficult. But I got to tell you, that looks really good with the Bitcoin B, right? And it's also interesting, right? The Bitcoin B, and it's a burger, and it's beef. The 3 Bs. Anyway, it's the Better Business Bureau. That's a terrible joke. And moving on. All right, let's keep going here. What are we taking a look at? All right, we already talked about Japan. We already looked at the banks. Okay. Let's dive into some stable coin, some more stable coin unhappiness. Here we go. Okay. You guys may have seen this, right? You may have seen this post here. Payments giant ACI Worldwide partners with BitPay to expand its crypto payment solutions for merchants. Right? Sounds great. Yay. All right, so they are they're partnering with BitPay to power crypto and stablecoin payments for global merchants and payment service providers. Crypto and stablecoins. Spoiler alert, crypto is stablecoins. Yawn. Anyways, and when you actually go into the article, right, because of course, right, we try to make it seem, right, in the Bitcoin space, try to make it seem like everything's about Bitcoin because, of course, to us, right, at least to me, everything is about Bitcoin. I'm just trying to figure out how we're being lured into these other things. But you dive into the article about this. First of all, they don't even mention Bitcoin, so great job, right? Slap the Bitcoin logo, put this other thing on the other side, boom, it's Bitcoin news. Sure isn't news, guys. It sure isn't Bitcoin news. As regulated stablecoins, not Bitcoin, as regulated stablecoins evolve from niche to mainstream, they're creating new opportunities for cross-border transactions and settlement optimization. The integrated solution supports settlement in both fiat and stablecoins. Yeah, stablecoin, not Bitcoin. So, again, just garbage. It's just garbage. Anyway, so yeah. We're not surprised. We're not surprised that we're getting more stable coin unhappiness. All right, let's take a look at the SBR updates. Let's take a look at this. All right, so probably saw this, right? Just in, Florida files strategic Bitcoin reserve bill. House Bill 183 will allow Florida to invest 10% of public funds in Bitcoin. Sounds good. Right. And I got to say, right, being in Florida, I'm thinking, hey, maybe it is going to be just Bitcoin only. Right. Maybe it is. So, as we know, they're moving to legalize Bitcoin investments again. Right. The wording Bitcoin investments in state funds. This sounds great. How do we go wrong with this? How do we go wrong with this? Remember, the original post said 10%. 10% for the big guy. Anyways, lawmakers push for crypto reserve strategy. Whoa. So crypto reserve strategy. Let's dive into this. Authorizes the state's chief financial officer to allocate up to 10% of specific funds, including the General Revenue Fund and the Budget Stabilization Fund, into Bitcoin and other digital asset products. So it's not 10% to Bitcoin, and you'll see. I'm just going to call it right now, and hey, if I'm wrong, I'm obviously going to say it, and if I'm right, I'll be like, yeah, well, that's too bad. But I got to tell you, the majority of this crap that they're going to hold, It's going to be stable coins. It's going to be stable coins. Anyways, that's, yeah, the SBR, not so fun, huh? Not so fun, the SBR sometimes. All right, moving on. Let's go, let's take a look at the, the Signal news, right? A whole bunch of people, right, all excited. Yeah, Signal's going to use Bitcoin, right? Jack Dorsey's talking about it. So here we go. Jack Dorsey calls for privacy-focused messaging app Signal to adopt Bitcoin. Guys, if you've already been here for, I don't know, at least a year, you already know Signal ain't adopting Bitcoin. They're peddling their own shitcoin. Okay? It's mobile coin, right? They control it. They own it. It's theirs. As you could see, I never activated payments or any of that shit. But yeah, Signal's not. Look, I would like Signal to use Bitcoin, but you got to understand, right? The kings, like the kings and their moats, right? They don't want to. No king is giving up power, right? No king is going to sit there and say, you know what, I'm going to use this other thing. And if they do say they're going to use this other thing, it is only to bring you in to the walled garden to use their thing. It's the typical, I love Bitcoin, use my shitcoin. I love Bitcoin, buy my shitcoin. It's just the same thing over and over again. Okay. Yeah, we know it. Okay, let's take a look at what are we going to go to? The Coinbase stuff, right? I got to tell you, I don't think this ends well, but we're going to take a look at it anyways. The Coinbase stuff. Coinbase Asset Management launches the Coinbase US Bitcoin Yield Fund. This fund is designed to seek excess returns over Bitcoin. I don't think that's going to end well. And I get it, right? Everyone's like, what are you talking about, Phil? Coinbase custodies, the like 80% of the Bitcoin for all the major institutions. What could possibly, you're right, what could go wrong? Well, for those of us that were here for the great financial crisis, let me tell you, the biggest institutions not only can fall, but they can shit the bed really hard. Okay, so either way, I don't think this is a good thing. Let's dive into it a little bit more and take a look at it. Coinbase Asset Management is excited to introduce the Coinbase US Bitcoin Yield Fund, which delivers Bitcoin performance. Plus additional BTC yield. Available to U.S. accredited investors. Accredited investors can subscribe to the fund with in-kind Bitcoin, USD, or USDC and earn the return of Bitcoin plus yield. Now we're going to take a look at that. Yield is generated from a combination of BTC private credit lending and basis trading. The fund will be available in certain retirement accounts in 2026. Yeah, we're going to go a little deeper into this one, guys. Okay, so this was the right, because there's the little one right next to the yield, right? Where does that yield come from, and can we guarantee that yield and all that stuff? Obviously, they can't guarantee that yield. So target returns are hypothetical and presented for illustrative purposes only. No guarantee is made, and this is of any investment product, right? Like, no guarantee is made that the USCBYF will achieve its target. The targeted return is presently solely for illustrative purposes to communicate the investment objectives of the fund. It does not represent actual performance. That should not be relied upon when making an investment decision. So the carrot on the end of the stick, it's not just going to match Bitcoin's performance, but you're going to beat Bitcoin's performance. And they're going to draw you in, right? The carrot on the end of the stick is that freaking yield. Guys, I would just hold Bitcoin. Make it easy, right? Obviously, like this is just shenanigans and nonsense. Yeah, I don't think that's going to end well, though. I don't think that's going to end well. But we'll see, right? We'll see what actually happens. All right, moving on. All right, so finally the cool stuff, guys. Let's take a look at this. All right, this is if you haven't seen this yet, this is the commercial, right? The little ad for the Bull Bitcoin wallet. Or it's not. had to cut the sound because who knows, right? YouTube may not like that that I use that. I did download it. I already installed it. For the people who are hoping that they could buy BTC in the US with Bull Bitcoin, unfortunately, you cannot. But for me, it's because I've actually used Bull Bitcoin, because for the people who know, I am originally from Montreal. I am a Canuck, right, who moved down south and is now American. And I had a Bull Bitcoin account for a very long time. I still do. And one thing I absolutely loved about them is it's no nonsense. It is zero nonsense. You have to provide an address to withdraw the Bitcoin. So it's that simple. Like, you cannot buy any Bitcoin without providing a withdrawal address. So there is zero custody. It's like Bull Bitcoin forces you into custody, and I really into self custody. So I really appreciate that. Anyways, congratulations, Francis and team. I love the Bull Bitcoin product. I wish that it was in the States. And yeah, I'm glad that there's the wallets. That's an awesome step in the right direction. I know some people have crapped on it, of course, because the user experience makes it so that it's, quote unquote, there's less configuration and all that. This is the beauty, right? This is the beauty about using software that fits you, right? Everybody is willing to accept or desires certain trade-offs, and there's more and more products coming out that give you that range. So, I don't know. Can't crap on every single thing, right? Can't be upset about everything. All right. Moving on from the Bull Bitcoin one. This one actually, this is the pretty impressed because to my knowledge, I've only, and again, this is just what I did. I've only used a cold card with Sparrow Wallet. So, and I'm sure that you can use it with others, but I've only ever used it with Sparrow. So when I saw the Jade, when I saw the Jade news, I was like, you know what? This is actually, I think, a step in the right direction. And let's take a look at this. Here we go. Oh, this one doesn't even have audio. Okay, good. So it looks like you're actually able to pair your cold card with the Jade application. And I got to tell you, I know that obviously when you're buying a cold card, like it's really because you want this in total air gapped signing device that is as secure as possible. However, there are people who do enjoy using their cold card so much, or want to use it so much, that they actually want to use it with their app, right? They actually want to use it with an app on the phone. And I think that this is pretty cool. I do think this is a step in the right direction. And I think that this actually, right, may even, for some people, right, may even lower the bar for them to use a cold card. And the reason why I say that is because a noob, right, and I'm just making a generalization, but there's certain noobs, when they look at the cold card, they're like, this device is just too complicated for me, even though it's not. Okay, it really isn't. But they just look at it and they look at the features, whereas they take a look at something like a Trezor or a Jade or a Foundation devices, right? It's like it's more polished, it has an app, all that stuff. And again, I'm not saying that stuff is better. However, people enjoy smooth user experiences, right? Like there's you can't underestimate how important a user experience is. And I can tell you, just look at what happened to the BlackBerry. Well, this is obviously, this ages me out like crazy, but the iPhone 8 BlackBerry's lunch. Okay, they had a superior user experience. And in all fairness, Apple didn't actually ask what users wanted. They simply told everybody what they're going to get. And it turned out that user experience was far superior to the BlackBerry. And, we all kind of know what happened over there. Anyways, yeah. So it's going to do it. I think it's going to do it for us for today, guys. It's quite the episode, quite the news. Stay tuned, though. We've got a whole lot more coming out coming out tomorrow. Yeah, you know what? It kind of looked like a virtual. It kind of looked like a virtual cold card, right? Like an emulator, right? Maybe it was an emulator. Oh, nice. Okay, see, so there you go, Seed Stainer. You remember it, right? Dude, I remember my Nokia. What was it? The 5655, or sorry, the 9455. That thing was so cool, and it had interchangeable cases, right? So you can get all these cool little cases for it. Anyways, doesn't matter. All right, guys, that is going to do it for us for today. I don't know. Let me know what you think of the like the new thing. Do you like the entire black background? You want me to switch back to the other one? I don't really know. I mean, I kind of think it maybe makes me look a little more professional. Who knows? Not that I'm really going for that look, but maybe it's a little less noisy. Either way, guys, you know the deal. We're going to be back tomorrow. More news, more fun, more signal, less slop. Everybody have a great rest of the day. Take it easy.